Hello, 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 YouTube. How are you guys doing today? What's been going on? How is everybody doing? Welcome to Real Talk Therapy 101 with your girl, Ebony. And if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being a part of what I hope will be an epic movement in the journey to mental wellness, spiritual wellness, overall wellness, because we know that in order to take care of ourselves, we have to be in the best states of mind. And in order to get there, sometimes it takes having a conversation about what we're feeling, what we're going through, how we're stuck in uncharted waters, and how we need to try to navigate from one place to the other. I started out the channel back in September, and if you are new, I want to encourage you to go back and check us out from that day to this one. Those of you who have been a part of this journey with me from day one to this one, I thank you so much for your support, your encouragement, and especially your patience, because, you know, life happens to all of us, and it happens to me too. So what I set out originally to try to do to help others was not going to be conducive to helping myself in my own journey. And so content will continue to be put out. It just will not be as regularly as it was at one point before, because things in my life have changed. And so if you're new, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hove. Now let me stop playing. My name is Ebony Campbell. I am a certified alcohol and drug counselor in the state of North Carolina. I am also a certified peer support specialist, as well as a master level qualified professional in behavioral health. I am currently in school to become a licensed clinical social worker, working on receiving my second master's, which would be a master's in social work. My first master's is in public administration. And ever since I was a little girl, my desire, my dreams, my goal, you know, I've always wanted to help people. And I created the channel to help individuals who are not sure how to go about getting the mental health that they need, or taking care of their mental health because of the stigma that's put on mental health. So, you know, I don't call it therapy per se. And the reason why I chose Real Talk Therapy is because you really have to have these conversations, and you have to be real with yourself to know where you're stuck at and where you need help. And if you're not real with yourself, even if you go see a licensed professional counselor, a licensed clinical social worker, a spiritual counselor, your pastor, whomever, you're not going to get where you need to go because you're not being honest about your symptoms. So when we go to our primary care physician and we're sick and we really want to get well, you're going to tell the doctor or the physician's assistant or the nurse or whomever, even when you're making the appointment and they ask you, hey, what seems to be the problem? You're going to tell them everything that's going on with you because you want to get well. So when it comes to your mental, you have to do the same thing. And in order for the licensed individual that you're receiving help from, in order for them to help you, they have to know your symptoms in order to get your prescription right. And your prescription is simply what we call a person-centered plan, a treatment plan, developing goals to assist you with working on how to get from the place where you're stuck to where you're trying to go. So you will also be able to see the growth within me and the channel, the different things that's going on. Your girl know how to do backgrounds now. Hey, because when I started out, I didn't know a thing. And that was the part about being real and keeping this thing real. Y'all see now, you know, because my background was getting out of whack. Hold on. Let me get this thing together now, because y'all already know that I'm an amateur at this thing, but we're gonna get it together. And the message is always going to be how to maneuver from what you're dealing with. And sometimes you may come across one of the episodes where I'm having a conversation about something that you may be going through personally. Y'all, hold on. Let me get this green screen right, because it's not. And I don't even know how much of this y'all can see. And you know, I don't be caring. For real, for real. But I want us to be together. Okay? And at the end of the day, it's all about the message that we're trying to get across. And how to help and maneuver with what we're going through mentally. So with all of that being said, I also do have a little fun thing that I do where I make custom made t-shirts. My husband and I, we started doing that back in 2016, 2017. And whatever I'm discussing for the day, the week, or what have you, I create a custom made t-shirt. You can order one. It's real easy to do. And you can use your own color patterns. I am addicted to coach. So by me being a certified alcohol and addiction specialist, I use my addiction to coach to help me with talking to clients and working and dealing with clients and doing different things of that nature. So I always, we go over the shirt. So today's shirt says, "No one has it all. Real Talk Therapy 101. Think about it." And so my kicks for the day, and I did maneuver. Let's see if you guys can see these are my black Vapor Max, and my bag for the day by Coach is a simple I don't know what you call this. I call it a backpack, but it's just simple, going out, put a few things in here, very handy. It's crossbody, I guess, because you can wear it cross the front, cross the back. But I absolutely love this particular bag. And so if you joined me last week, you should be ready for us to dive into the conversation. Hold on. One more second. I got this thing. I don't know how it is, y'all, how I've moved it. Oh, there's the problem right there. It was under my rolling chair. Okay. So that right there should do it. All right, here's Real Talk Therapy. Because everything I do here on the channel, I try to keep it as real as possible. I'm a real individual. I have real issues. And so sometimes when I'm describing things or having conversations, I may use examples from my real life. I never use names because I ain't got time for people running around here talking about I'm talking about them. But if the shoe fits, if you know you were a part of my life and that particular era of my life, hey, understand where I was coming from, especially if you didn't want to listen to me when I was trying to talk to you about it. The other part is that on the channel, I explain things in ways that when I'm actually at work, I have to be real sensitive and careful about. So for example, in mental health or behavioral health treatment, you are encouraged to rely on your spiritual higher power, whatever or whomever that may be. For me, it's the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, but I do not use this channel as an avenue to try to convert people or get them to do, because your journey is your journey. This is simply to help you understand what resources are available to you and how to get from one place to another. And if you are a spiritual being or individual, rely on your higher power. So sometimes I will use parables, scriptures from the Bible, because that's what I'm familiar with and that's what I know. I want to encourage you to not leave because of that, and understand that. Use it, listen to what I'm saying. Use this conversation to insert your higher power and what your belief is, and see if you're able to work and manifest from that way. But starting out with saying no one has it all, we have been coming from the Netflix series Bridgerton. I encouraged you guys last week, if you didn't have anything to do, to kind of sit down and start Bridgerton from start to finish. It's one of my favorite shows to watch now. And I started watching it during the pandemic. I think I've had Netflix for however long Netflix has been out, but I never really watched it. And I got addicted to watching Netflix at the start of the Tiger King. And then I just started going from there. And then different people who were already watching it would recommend series for me to watch. And I got stuck on Bridgerton. But I started thinking about the characters from an angle of mental health and from going through different things. And I always kind of come up with ways in my mind to help explain to people, you know, what that means or what that person could be going through. Because sometimes we're going through things and we don't understand how to recognize what it is that we're going through. So last week we talked about Daphne. She's was a Bridgerton. She finessed her way to becoming the Duke of Hastings. So she married good old Simon, the Duke of Hastings, that came onto the scene about the second or third episode. He had been off gallivanting somewhere and he made his way back to society, wherever they be at. So he comes back and he's affiliated with Lady Danbury. And if you haven't been watching the series, we're going to talk about her later on. But he's an orphan. You know, his mom died while giving birth to him, so he never met his mother. And then his father died, and when his father died, that's what brought him back to the town where they all were. He had to come back and settle his father's affairs and, you know, do whatever it is he needed to do for his father's affairs. But this young man, handsome, real debonair, real, you know, put together. He come through, he got money because he a duke or what have you. So his stature in society, he up there. And it would seem that he had it all on the surface, you know, on the outside, looking at him. He's well put together. He speaks, you know, with that English twang. You know, his words are so precise. He had the gift of gab. He knew exactly what to say, how to sit in the chair, how to do whatever that society had for them to do. But at this point, he's an orphan, and the only family attachment he has is Lady Danbury, who stepped in and kind of tried to help him when he was growing up. And so she went to the house to see him, and I think in the episodes he was like 6 years old, and he had this stutter. So as kids, remember, we went through all of this in earlier channels. We go through growing pains. We go through things, and sometimes whatever we have that's going on with us, other kids will pick at you or tease you about it. And he had a stutter, and so because of that, he couldn't go to school, or he didn't want to go to school. He had to be homeschooled, and Lady Danbury stood in and got the proper people in place to help him. But because he stuttered, his father, who wanted an heir, who really wanted this son, who literally took him out of his mom's arms right after she had him, was disappointed in the fact that his son had this stutter. And instead of trying to help his son and do something about it, he kind of cast him to the side like, yo, you ain't fit to be my heir. You can't take on, you know, the Bassett family name. Your name is Simon, whatever. You're going to be a duke just because you're my heir. But I didn't want no son that came here stuttering and had this deformity about him. I wanted a son that was just as gallant and just as good as I am. And so you're born into royalty, but I'm not going to treat you like royalty. I'm going to shut you behind these doors. Don't nobody need to see you because of this stutter and stammer. So as a kid at 6 years old, this is what love looked like for him. And so he was confused. He didn't understand it. And now he wanted to be nurtured. He wanted to be cared for. He wanted his father's approval. And Lady Danbury could see this in this little kid. So she made sure he got the proper education and he learned the things that he needed to learn and did the things that he needed to do. So once she did all of that for him, you know, he got grown and he said, deuces, you ain't love me and want to be a part of me, you know, when I could do, and I'm sorry, let me go back. Because he couldn't speak well, but he knew how to read and write, he would write all these letters to his father, wanting his father's approval when he went abroad or wherever he went to. Daddy never wrote back. Daddy didn't care, wrote him off. It's not clear if Simon has any siblings out here, if this man ever had any more children after he passed away. So, you know, the relationship was estranged. And so this in behavioral health is considered childhood trauma. And when you deal with childhood trauma, it's something that you went through as a child that was so traumatic, it follows you through those stages of adulthood. So if you go back on the channel, we went through those stages. You have early adulthood that starts at the age of 18 and goes through it's 18 to I forget the years right now, but you have early adulthood, middle adulthood, which is where your girl at. I'm 46 years old. And then you have late adulthood. And I do believe that's 65 and older. So, those good golden years when you get to retire, live life, or at least you should be able to. But hey, who knows what's going to happen in society now. But if we don't deal with our childhood trauma, which are memories and disappointments that we still carry with us when we get into middle adulthood and even sometimes late adulthood, and we don't know how to deal with it because we don't always know where to go or who to talk to. So that stuff sticks with you. And when you're having to deal with things in life, like for Simon, choosing a wife and starting a family, he was afraid that if he had a child and kept on this family lineage, that he wouldn't be able to love the child properly because he didn't even know how to be loved. So he was promiscuous. He paid prostitutes to have sex. He didn't want no relationship. He didn't want anything. So you remember me telling you, him and Daphne met. They put on his rules so that she wouldn't have to marry some old, wrinkly guy. And he wouldn't have to be bothered by the mamas in the town with their young, eligible girls that they're looking to marry off. They got together and conformed this plan to say, hey, we're going to pretend like we're courting. So I'm not tarnished in society and other guys will want me, and then they can leave you alone because they will think that you are, in a loving relationship. And so he ends up teaching Daphne how to pretend like she was in love with him. And when they put on these rules, they didn't realize that by playing this game, that infamous game of pretend, they ended up really falling in love with each other. He ended up finding somebody who wanted to know about him and cared enough about him to make sure that he was okay. And, we know that they end up getting married. They fall in love for real. It's passionate. Daphne doesn't know anything about sex because she's a virgin. Her mom doesn't tell her anything because they don't have that birds and the bees talk, which is ridiculous. And nowadays, y'all don't even have to teach your kids about sex. The internet gonna do it for you. Now, a real mom and a real daddy will sit down and talk to their kids and not allow the internet to give out, the false information that they do. However, I digress because that's just my opinion. And remember, everybody has one. You're entitled to it. But if you don't teach your kids, somebody else is going to do it for you. If you don't love your children, they're going to find it or the best version of it outside of your home. And then you're going to have to start dealing with some things that could have been avoided if you just would have been real. And we've learned that, our parents did the best that they knew how, so we had to do the best that we know how. But if you stop that cycle and do things different and do it right, we don't have to continue to live in what's considered generational curses. Break them. If you guys are familiar with Miami Tip, she's on the Love and Hip Hop Miami, of course. Her name is Miami Tip. I recently started following her on Instagram and following her channel, and I loved her on the show. And her realness and her ability to just stay real at all times is what I drew to. And she has a segment on her YouTube channel right now that aired a couple of weeks ago, but she sat down with her mom and they had a real conversation about her growing up and how she didn't want for anything or lack for anything, but she still felt like it wasn't enough. That's where we know that no one has it all. You probably know some people who grew up in a two-parent household with both of their parents loving, taking care of them. They didn't want for anything, but then they end up being out here or get involved in some stuff that, according to society, because of the way that they grew up, they shouldn't have had to endure what they went through. Listen. There are so many mechanisms and things and situations that play into the shaping of who you are. And when you get to a place where you want love, you want somebody to be there for you, you want somebody beside you. Tupac got a song, What You Won't Do for Love, and it's sampled from, I can't remember the original song. Somebody out here know it. Please put it in the comments, and I'm going to look it up probably after this. I should have did it before, but what you won't do for love. You tried everything and you don't get it. We can't keep putting ourselves out there for something that we don't even know how to receive. You got to educate yourself. Oh God, what is my man name? I can't think of his name either, but it's Bruce Ormsby, I think it is. But I could be wrong, but it's a song that says, I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. How do you want somebody to show you something if you aren't quite sure what it is yourself? Emotional attachments. Sometimes things that we think, what it looks like. People that aren't celebrities. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not rich yet. And I say I'm not a celebrity. I guess I'm not considered a celebrity. And that's not to say that I won't ever become one. But if that's the sight and if that's the way that I'm trying to go, I have to be strategic about the way I want to get there so that I'm not looked at as somebody who's out here chasing clout or trying to go, hang on somebody else's coattail. Originality is key. Be who you are and let the world see who you are and be okay with that. I am sitting here before you, and this is all the way live, personal, but it's real. It's just an example of where I'm coming from. I'm sitting before you with a double D size bus. I don't want the double Ds. I would rather have my BCA cup any day. But they here. So I embrace these girls and I'm with them. But I would have never thought to undergo surgery or any of that stuff just to have a bigger bust. I don't give a crap what society say. I love me. I love my shape from I first realized what it was to the time that I got here. Do I want to do some tightening up? Sure. But I don't want to go under the knife for that because I don't feel pressured by society or anybody else to make those changes to me. Now, not saying that anybody that does or anybody that feels that way has some issues, but you have to really look at why you want to change. That's why when you go to sign up for these surgeries or whatever you do, you have to undergo some conversations to make sure this is really what you want to do. Because there's no turning back from the seriousness of what may happen to you after you undergo this surgery. But I digress. Let me go back to Simon Bissett, the Duke of Hastings on Bridgerton, and what we're getting at. So you have these two people who are complete opposites. And y'all know your girl love cliches. And the one that says opposites attract, I wouldn't change it for nothing. We know that opposites and a magnet stick together. Opposites truly attract. And in my opinion, they make the best of friendships. They make the best relationships. They make the best whatever. Simply because they're two people from two different walks of life who have attached to one another. And they're bringing all of themselves in there to create what works for them. Daphne got all them brothers and sisters. Y'all know also a lot of children in that Bridgerton household. Simon, as far as we know, is the only child. Daphne, who got to experience both of her parents before her father died. Simon, who did not get to experience both of his parents. His mama died giving birth to him. He didn't have a relationship with his dad. So these two people are from complete, and then Simon, well, they both had a little money. Now, the Bridgertons was in upper status on there. Simon had more money than her. So they had a little money. But they were opposites, and they found genuine comfort in one another. She knew how to comfort and help him to fit in, and then he got in and enjoyed being around her brothers and sisters and loving the family gatherings and things that they did as a family. And eventually, he knew that they were having sex and he would pull out. Because she was a virgin, she didn't know what that was. She thought it hurt. She would ask questions. She asked her handmaid. And when she finally found out what it took to make a baby, she felt betrayed by him. And he never told her, look, I was doing that because I didn't want to bring a kid into this world, because I didn't want a repeat of who I am, and I didn't want a child to come into this world and I not know how to love them. And Daphne like, look, I got you. We right here. We're going to do this together. But she also tried to fool him. And, once she found out, though, she got up in there and she did what she thought she needed to do to have a baby. And they got mad at each other, fell out for a little while. And, You know, he wouldn't talk to her because he felt like she tried to trick him. But hey, he lied to her. He didn't tell her the truth. And because neither one of them were on the up and up, they eventually found ways to just accept each other for who they were. And in real life, we go through that. There are parts about ourselves that we don't want to share with our partner because we think they won't like or love us. Or you don't want to tell your friend that, hey, I can't be going out with you every week or to the mall every day, because you want to be friends with this person and you don't know how to say, I don't have it like you have it. Or I'm just plain Jane, I don't know what else to do. Start having real conversations with people so you quit surrounding yourself with the wrong group of people and you can go ahead and find and develop your tribe. That's what's important. We all have shortcomings. No one has it all. One of my favorite songs by Geographer, and it's an old song. It came out in like 2017, but it's called Wake You Up. And one of the verses, it's talking about the opposite of a man and a woman that he's attracted to, and she don't want to be with him no more, but he still wants to be with her. And he says, you don't know what you want, you just need it, and he says, I was made to fly and you were made to run. No one has it all. So all of us are unique. We all have our own things to bring into the relationship that makes it together. But if I was made to fly and to run, how am I going to ever find somebody that has the opposite of me in order for us to attract and create what becomes ours? People get together, they be together, they lose, the momentum. Oh, she ain't doing what she used to do. Oh, he ain't doing what he used to do. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to seek attention from these outside vices who don't mean you no good. They just want what they think you have, or they want the type of relationship that they see you have with somebody else, not realizing that they're never going to have that because they're not that individual, and you will become a different version of yourself when you're with somebody else unless you find out who you really are. And that's why people jump from relationship to relationship and fall in love in 3 months. Who in the heck falls in love in 3 months? My husband and I dated for 7 years. We go together. And in going together, yes, we went through so much stuff. But it was never enough for us to say, I'm completely done with the other. And I would be telling you the biggest lie ever if I sat here and said 20 some years later, we didn't continue to have those things, because we do. We're human. We do. The difference in us now and the difference in us 20 some odd years ago is we talk about it no matter how hard it gets now. Tell me about me, because I don't see me the way that you do. And I might not like what I'm hearing, and I might not want to hear it, but I need to hear it. Because when I think I'm doing everything right, and when I think I'm bringing all these things to the table, on the other side and to the receiver, it may not look that way. And then if I sit and hold on to everything that somebody has done wrong to me and I never talk about it, then people think it's okay. Remember, I told y'all, your silence is consent to people. When you aren't talking and saying what's going on with you, people start to feel like, oh, it's okay. She ain't saying nothing, he ain't saying nothing, so it gotta be okay. No, it's not okay. You gotta have those conversations, or it will never, ever be resolved. It'll be the elephant in the room that nobody's talking about, and people trying to figure out how to walk around it. Cut it out, especially if you're in middle adulthood. If you're in early adulthood, I'll give you that. Your 20s and some parts of your 30s is made for the figuring it out. I gotta figure it out some kind of way. But when we get in these 40s, 50s, 60s, and we headed on down, we should know better. And anytime that you know better and you decide not to do better, whatever happens to you is on you. Quit looking for people to blame and look in the daggone mirror. Remember Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. We talked about that. So when you start thinking about what you want to do for love and you've done everything, have you really done everything? Have you been honest with yourself about what love looks like? Have you been honest with yourself about what you want? And have you been honest with the person? In order to get well, when you go to the doctor, are you honest with what's going on with you? And because Simon wasn't even honest with himself, he couldn't be honest with her, and she had to discover his flaw through these letters that he wrote when she was living in a home. And, you know, she pulled these things out, and they had that conversation, and then there was the breakthrough. Just when they decided, you know what, we tried it, we're going to just live however, we married, you can stay here, you ain't got to go nowhere, but I'm going to go here, there, and I'm going to do whatever. But you know, you're welcome to stay here, and whenever we got to go to one of these balls and present, we'll go do that. They had agreed to keep up a ruse for society's sake. Come on, y'all. That's no way to live. And those of us who are not in the limelight and not in the celebrity status, we look at celebrities and we look at their lifestyle and we think, oh, that's it. But I was sitting around with my cousin, one of my good friends, my husband, and I, we were, you know, sitting around Friday night, and we were looking at YouTube and these different videos, and I'll hear a song and like it and not know who made it now, because I'm still stuck in the 80s, 90s, and I'm still 9-9 for the 2000s Cash Money. Y'all know I love Lil Wayne, Lil Tucci, as he's not called, but y'all know that's one. I'm back there still. You put some of that on, and I'm going word for word with it. But these new songs, I gotta listen, I gotta hear, but a lot of times I like the music. And music is therapeutic for me. So we were looking at YouTube, and I had just put in like 2000s hip hop or whatever, and then, you know, YouTube would keep playing and all this stuff came on. So some of the songs, I was like, oh, I didn't know this person made that, or dang, look at them back then. What happened to them now? And you know, my husband and my cousin and my homeboy, they keep up with the celebrities, and they really, really know what's going on with them. But at any rate, they kept telling me, oh, he used to sell dope, then he became a rapper, you know, and then he got with these girls, and these you know, they call y'all, the society, the internet, these people, y'all, IG, you know, baddies, hoes, whatever y'all are, that get in these men DM, and because they insecure themselves and don't know what's going on, and yeah, I said it, they reach out to you. There's 1 or 2 night stands. Ladies, we are emotional creatures. We are built that way. On Poetic Justice, my man, oh God, I forget his, but he's good. He's Cooper Gooding Jr.'s brother. But he plays, you know, what you call his homeboy, in the movie, and he's living with the girlfriend and the mama. And he said, y'all said y'all want me here. He said, I'm not going to call the ladies, you know, bees. I'm going to call them unstable creatures. We are unstable. And as a woman, I can say that. You know, some days I wake up and I'm the happiest person in the world. Some days I wake up and I look around and I'm like, what the crap? I don't want to deal with this. It's instability. It's emotional instability. Our body goes through things that the male body does not go through. So, you know, when it comes to, you know, people, I'm going to stay away from that. As a woman, some days my emotions are just unstable. I can watch a movie and know it's a movie. It's not real. It's not based on real life. But whatever's happening in that movie might turn something on, and my husband will look over there at me and say, you crying, ain't you? Yeah. It could be boo-hoo crying. Because I have, you know, kind of gotten emotionally involved in the storyline. You know, and then I'm sitting there boo-hoo crying and trying to figure out, I don't even know these people. I don't even know what's going on, and why am I crying? But I can see something happening in real life and not be as emotionally impacted. Doesn't mean that anything is wrong with me. It's just my makeup. And I'm honest with my makeup. So am I, or do I have the ability to be a leader? Yes. Do I lead off emotions sometimes and manage off emotion? Yeah, because if I'm mad and pissed off, the response that you're going to get may be different than the response that you're going to get if I'm in a better space. So I had to learn how to taper that. Because if I got issues at home, I ain't got no business going outside of my home, taking it out on anybody there. And if I got issues on the outside, I ain't got no business bringing that stuff in here. That's what therapy does. It helps us understand how and why we're feeling and how to cope with those feelings, how to maneuver through everyday life with what we're feeling. But everybody want to be something that they're not. Everybody want to be portrayed in a light that wasn't designed to shine on them. And you have heard me say this, if you have watched and been on the channel, the limelight exposes. So if you got freckles and zits and bumps and hair on your chin or whatever that you don't want people to see, why in the world do you want to be in the limelight? Makeup is a cover-up. Sorry, but it is. I wore makeup once in my life. The first time I went to high school prom, I was in 10th grade. Boyfriend was in 12th grade. Went to the prom. My auntie Janine, jack of all trades. I'm going to have her on here soon. At that time, my girl was doing Mary Kay and the makeup, and she made me up. I don't remember what it looked like, and I hope it ain't no pictures out there nowhere with it. But I do know when I got to that school, I went to the bathroom and I washed it off. It wasn't me. I didn't know who I was looking at. And I made up my mind in the 10th grade, between 15 and 16 years old, 14 to 15 years old, I don't want to wear makeup. And I never did. You'll never see me blinged out. The most I have is bracelets. I wear my wedding bands. Not big on necklaces. I'm just not big on jewelry. That doesn't define me. But for some people, it's part of their definition that they created for themselves. And it looks good. Don't get me wrong. And I don't know whose is real and whose ain't. I don't have an eye for that. But if it's part of your makeup and it helps you to feel comfortable with who you are, do what you do. But don't be upset with the person who doesn't agree with what you do. You don't ever have to agree with me. And I don't ever have to agree with you. Hence the cliche, agree to disagree. But respect should always be there. I've never been disrespectful until I was disrespected. And the disrespectful me, that girl, ooh. That girl ain't what they want. Like Lil Uzi Vert say, this ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. And that's because I'm still challenging and channeling and working with her. There's work to be done. No one has it all, no matter what it looks like on the outside, no matter what it looks like on the TV. I don't care how many Bentleys and how many car garages you got. I got 4, 5 cars in my backyard. I can't drive but one at a time. It's probably more than that if I'm being honest. But it ain't none of them Mercedes and I'm a Honda girl. My first car was a Honda Civic. I'm still driving a Honda right now. And if my bank account grows, but it ain't even no if, because I'm learning to change my words and manifest the type of life that I want. When my bank account overflows to the point where I can go out here and buy whatever it is that I want, the only other car that I have on my heart that's outside of my Honda is an Audi A. I think it's an A7 that I want. And shoot, I can go get that now. I don't have to wait. But I have learned to be content with where I am in life. You're rich with how you feel. You're rich within yourself. And if we want to keep it Christian, the Bible says, blessed are the poor at heart. What does the poor look like? What does that consist of? So you always know, you have to know your mind is your greatest asset, and how you look at things, how you handle and maneuver through things is completely up to you. But when Simon realized his biggest asset was Daphne and this feeling or this family that brought him in and gave him a feeling that he had never felt before, that felt good, and it was a feeling of acceptance. Something as simple as being accepted and loved for being Simon. Did nobody care that you stuttered when you were 6 years old? Don't nobody care that you the Duke and you got all these riches and all these different things. I don't care. We just love you. Come in. The Bridgerton household is real. Them children running around there. They doing stuff they ain't got no business. That woman, a single mama, she trying to, get them children married off and teach them about love the best way that she knows how. That's real. Quit looking for something that is beyond the reach of whatever you think it is that you want, because once you have it, will you really be fulfilled? Robin Williams, one of the most profound, legendary actors in the world, according to what we know, took his life. He appeared to have it all. And he ended his life. You ever think about that? Think about those things. These girls that I look at on Love and Hip Hop, who when I see them with no foundation on their face and they just in their regular settings, to me are so beautiful. But then they go and put themselves out here. When you go looking for the man with the money, what are you really looking for? Because he ain't looking to take care of you. And if he have a child by you and the relationship ends, as long as he takes care of the child, he owes you nothing. But some of y'all feel like they do. Cut it out. Quit bringing kids into this. And the more I watch these reality shows and I'm watching people fight over the dumbest stuff, I'm watching people say, I'm your friend, but you have no idea what real friendship is. Work on you. And if it's a marriage and you take vows, this is probably the realest thing in this video to anybody that's married. If you stand before your family, before God, before whomever, and you say for better or for worse, you better be equipped to understand what the worst is. Every day that you get up, it's a new day to put in the work. There is no happily ever after. I learned that the hard way. Your love story is not going to look like The Great Gatsby or Great Expectations or The Notebook. Whatever your love story may be, if you have a favorite love story, you know those are old movies. But the storyline in them is what I always thought, look, the knight in shining armor. It's going to look like who and what you have. And you have to get up every day and understand why you chose that person. And if that person sticks behind you, no matter what, that's your person. That's your person. Because everybody falls short. And if you can have a conversation and it's something you can work through, like Daphne and Simon did, and they ended it up on having this big ball to say, we're going to do this for society, and then we're going to go behind closed doors, and we're not going to deal with each other. In that moment, in putting that together, it starts to rain when they get ready to dance. And then they both decided to dance in the rain and just enjoy each other. And figured out that we don't have it all together, but we're going to figure it out. Listen, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you're mature. Childhood trauma can leave you in a place of immaturity to where you will act like a child at 40, 30, 50, because you haven't stopped to deal with your childhood trauma. A lot of times I refer to some adults as big people. You just be. And you still act like the little person. Growing up means maturing and understanding that some days I'm in a space. And rather than say something to cause friction in the house, let me be in my space. Nicki Minaj has a song called Calm Down with J. Cole. Listen to it. She's like, let me calm down. I need my space when I'm heated. I don't want to say something that I don't mean. And then now we got to retract and go to that. Y'all got to learn how to do that. And J. Cole verse on that song is fire because he tell you as her man, you got to be her brother. You got to be her therapist. You got to be her coach. You got to be all those things to her because emotionally your girl is unstable. And it's okay. It's out wire up. Some days I am going to lay here and cry. And then I got to figure out what time of the year it is. This started for me in December. 2019, December, I started losing some of the closest people to me. And I didn't stop to grieve. And the death toll didn't stop. So it didn't have nothing to do with Christmas when I started feeling sad and not able to, January coming in. It ain't had nothing to do with it being a new year. It's dates and times that I try to kind of suppress. But no, I have to deal with those feelings because I was raised, you got to keep going. Oh, give it to God and let go, let God. Again, nobody taught me what that looks like. Quit telling people fancy words and cliches and let's educate each other and teach each other about what it feels like. I'm sad. And it being sad right now, even though I'm girly gangster, I need to lay on your chest and cry. And I can't explain it to you right now, so just let me lay on your chest and cry. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It ain't got nothing to do with us. I'm just sad. Women say that. And quit using your body as a way to get a man to try to get on and do what you want to do. Educate yourself on how to go out here and open up your own business and become your own boss if that's what you really want to do. You shouldn't have to have a baby by a rapper or somebody that's in the business or whatever. Beyonce and Jay-Z is not relationship goals. Now, I'm fans of both of them, but they're real people who deal with real problems and they have to deal with it on their own terms. They're not relationship goals for you because you're not Beyonce and you're not Jay-Z. Sit down with your person and develop your own relationship goals. My girl Michelle Obama tell you her and Barack shouldn't be relationship goals. That's why I love her. She real. Don't look at us for the relationship goal. You better figure it out. Because we still figuring it out. So what you won't do for love when it comes to loving yourself should be the number one priority. Love who you are, where you are, and what you got going on. The rags to riches stories don't necessarily have to apply to you. Your health really is your wealth. And your mental health helps you with your physical health. So if you really want to be, the best version of yourself and you really want to be whatever it is you're trying to become and seek out here, start within. Start within. Laura Hill, my girl, how you going to win when you ain't right within? So if you trick that man into being with you and that man realizes and uncovers your trick and he decides he don't want to be with you no more, sit down somewhere, boo, and figure out how you going to take care of yourself and your child. And don't do it in the limelight. Don't give the blog something to talk about. You make their job easy. You really do. If you're in a relationship, before you step out of it, step inside and figure out what might be going wrong inside of it. And if you still have that strong desire to step out of it, leave the person you're alone with. Leave them alone. Or the person you're with, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because that good old cliche, you can dish it, but you can't take it, that thing is real. So male or female, if you go out here and you cheat on your partner who has been nothing but good to you or attempted to try to be good to you, went through the trenches with you, ain't never stepped out on you, ain't never did nothing, but you decide to be the first one to step out, you better be able to take it if they decide to step out too. If you know in your heart of hearts you can't handle it, don't do it. We old enough in here. Don't do it. Be unapologetically who you are, flaws and all. Be who you are. No one has it all. I guarantee you can't find nobody that has it all. And if you do, holler at your girl, because I want to be able to know what they did and how they came to a place of having it all. So y'all can see my little clicker ain't working so that I can end this video. But I do want to thank you guys for joining. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Help your girl reach 100. I think I'm at like 62 right now. YouTube has sent me some stuff out. So if I can get these numbers up, we can get this stuff all around the world. And we can help each other collectively to grow and to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. Because if you are a celebrity, people are looking up to you. Give them something real to look up to. I heard a lot of people talk about Nipsey Hussle. And I didn't know a lot about Nipsey. I've just started listening to some of his music. But my husband, fan and all into it. But one of the things that I've heard people say about him was that he kept it real. And he wanted the people in his hood to know it's more to life than selling drugs and buying cars and being with the hottest girl. Get you some land. You know, do that. Be the uncle or the auntie to teach these kids a way. Whitney Houston said, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and help them lead the way. Let's quit putting out this negative stuff that don't last. Because these celebrity marriages falling apart. Marrying each other for the outside, not knowing the real individual, not taking time to court and date and spark, like my grandma and them say. You better get to know who you get ready to act and pretend like you want to spend the rest of your life with. And they didn't know you. You need to get to know you. So, you know, just do that. It's worth it. You are your greatest investment. And no one has it all. So quit comparing yourself to what you see and what people, you know, tell you. Let's be real about this thing. So I thank you guys for joining me today. And I'll see you all on the next episode of Real Talk Therapy with your girl, Ebony. Y'all be easy.